So, ako ginignan ng mga grupo-grupo. Kung sabihin nyo, money, para pila ka po, 25, i-cancel na lang na. Ato lang yung tipo-tipo din. Bahala ko sa nakasudan, basta kay nikapupo sa linya, nga kasi yan. No? So, laro na lang itong sudan, basta ang inyong sudan, amo ka nun. Ana na siya. So, tanawin na to niya, huwag tingin ko itong Birnes sa Friday evening service. Ang problema niya, huwag nakaibaw ang niya kuya ang taguan na mag-ilog yun nilulog muna. Nilog niya. Na may buwan mo kung diyan dyan, naghana, Edison, plus na diyan, pwede yun, gusto mo, hindi na mo ito. Karong gaway siguro, uy, wala na nato ng mga seniors niya. Ito mga seniors. Niya, itong mga PWD. Ako, PWD na ba ito, nag-ID. So, ayaw yun mo pagunan ako, nag-ID. Iba mo na ito na, mga pregnant, mga bata, o anak na niya. So, mga young people, ibahin mo, ato mo sa 100, sa number 1, sa number 2. Sabi na tanan. Ingon si Filipe, 200 kandidatos, di pa paigok na makatilaw ni tanan. Kupuli makatilaw na tanan niya mo niya. A denarius is usually a day's wage at the time. Usa ka denarius, mo na isuhol aning panahon na para sa usa ka adlaw. So akong gikwinta-kwinta, if we translate that to the amount today, it will be about 70 to 80,000 pesos. Para lang makatilaw, di pa makatilaw diyan. Imagine last Sunday, nakatilaw na tanan, di ba? Napay sobra sa itong ikaw. Ang atong gigasto, ato itong treasurer. More or less mga 50 mil. Mga 50 mil yan, 200 na tang nangaon. Ay, nagdagpog sa itong taon kay nila tinalip. Kanya nila, paano man o pan. Diba? Huwagan nila tayo. Sana, bag mo sa pan. Niya ato, mapelitson, niya pila kasundan. 50 mil, 200 na tang niya sila. Tingali, 7,000, 8,000, di ba pa yun? And Andrew's response, ang kang Andrew, mga gihapon, similar sa kang Philip, ang iyang concern, di tayo, ingon siya in verse 9, but what are they among so many? Mag-unsa man sa kadaghan nato. Mag-unsa man. So, nabiyo ba na ni Waisun sa tiyan, di ba? A little girl went up one day to her mom, holding her stomach. Ana-ana ang bata, nga babae. Nidool sa iyang inahan, may mami, my stomach hurts. Sakit akong tiyan, nay. Masakit akong tiyan. Her mother replied, that is because it is empty. You must put something in it. Huwag mo isunin mong tiyan, sudli yun na. And so, the mom prepared a bowl of soup. Paano yan? So, party, nauli at tingali. Later that day, when the priest and his secretary, wife, punta to, pero di mo pwede ang priest na wife. Secretary lang, ang iyang kuyo. Who were invited for dinner, atong malaya, when the dinner was over, the priest began to feel bad. Holding his head, you know ng priest, I have such a terrible headache. Sakit akong ulo. And the little girl looked at him, giving him the sweetest smile that a little girl could ever give. Then she said, that's because it's empty. You must put something in it. Delikado ang ulo mo empty. Kay makita na kawaisun ng ipanulti. Basta empty. Now let's look at the resources available in verse 9. There is a lad here who has 5 barley loaves and 2 small fish. But what are they among so many? Now, 5 loaves and 2 fish are really nothing for the more than 5,000 people. Takon sa gunagod. Mura na gilikuan. Mura na nagkapila ang usap nila. Ang barley loaves are a low quality kind of bread. Kini pag yung barley na klase nga pan, low quality, yun sa may low quality na ito nga pan. Mga basta ka ng mga bartuhon nga. Usay ka ng mga bahaw nga. Usay ko. Bahaw. Tagal-tagal na sukar. Wala, lamin na. Bahaw na mo kila. Kunya, ang isda pag yuninhi, the fish here is also described as small. Gamay pag yun. A far cry from a big tuna from General Santos na dating tuna. Kani gamay. Isa naman galunggong na niya. Isa na sa ito? Tuloy. Tuloy po kayo. Kinsa nagda, a little lad or a young boy or a servant. Probably, yun ang mga commentators, that he could be one of those who carried the apostles' provision tigda, or who came in purpose to sell his bread and fish. What little they had was in the hands of the little boy. Gamay ra na, napag yun sa gamay bata. And Andrew, one of the disciples, summed it up perfectly when he said, "What are they among so many?" Pag-unsa man taon ni sa daghan. We have a little food here, but what are they with so many people? We don't have the details for this boy, but we have enough information to know that this boy willingly gave what he had to Jesus. Wa kay ka information kung kinsa ning bata, pila diya edad, basta kay gamay pa nga siya bata. Pero ang naa niya iyang gihatag kang Hesus. Maybe you have been in that place. Not with 5 loaves or 2 fish, but maybe with your limited financial resources or limited energy or emotional resources. You thought that this thing is too big. Nagkaningin mo giatubang at kahintang dako kayo. Gamay ra ang imong resources. I want you to notice what Jesus did. We read in verse 9 about what little they had, but in verse 10, Jesus said, "Make the men sit down." Palingkurang mga tao. And Jesus immediately took that situation. And we know from the other Gospels that He took those loaves and fish. Jesus could have disregarded the loaves and the fish and created from nothing right there and then. Pwede, di niya kinahanglanon. Di na ito niya kuhaon ang pan o ang isda. Pwede na siya out of nothing. Create something. Tingnan niyo, maghimo siya tanang lami pa mag-cake sa Red Ribbon o Goldilocks. O mag-produce siya out of nothing. Nindot kayo ng mga wine na iparis. Jesus could have disregarded their little resources. But He took what little they had and He made use of it. Iyan gigamit alang sa dako na tax. Now, the third aspect that we will look at, the unlimited grace of God. The question from Jesus in verse 5, what shall we buy, where shall we buy bread for these people to eat? In other words, how are we going to handle this problem? Unsaon man ninato pagsulbad ning problema? Mao na ang pangutana ni Jesus. And the disciples had different takes on the situation. Lahi-lahi ang ilang sugyot, lahi-lahi ang ilang solusyon. Ang usa, in Mark chapter 6, that also records the same event. Verse 36, ingon dito, ang mga disipulo, miduol kang Hesus ug miingon, "Send them away that they may go into the surrounding country and villages and buy themselves bread, for they have nothing to eat. Palayasa lang na siya. Pagtuwa lang na sila sa mga kabaryuhan nga matuwa nila, o magpalit sila o ilang makaon. Kaya wa tayo mapakaon ninhi. In other words, let them solve their own problem. So yun sa mga disipulo, sila na doon pasulbaraan ang ilang problema. In other words, I don't care. That's your own problem. So if you have this situation and you go to the disciples, they will say, that's your own problem. Solve it. Imo man na, nga numian hitod ka, gisuko ba kagpariyon, ihagad ba ka na mong pari, imo ng problema. Sulbara na. Go back to John 6, verse 7. Ikaduha, ingon diri, 200 denarii worth of bread is not sufficient for them. In other words, we need more money. So, unsa ito ba sa disipulo? I cannot afford to help you. Hindi ko katabang. Hindi ko ka-afford pagtabang. Thirdly, verse 9. But what are they among so many? In other words, we have a little, but it will never be enough. In other words, not a problema. But we cannot really solve this problem. Di yun ka makasolba na yung problema. Atay gamay diri, di pinipaigo, di yun ka makasolba niya yung problema. Notice though, that Jesus did not ask because he did not know the answer. Look at verse 6. It says, he asked this only to test him, for he already had in mind what he was going to do. Wala si Jesus mangutana kaya siya kay bago sa ibuhaton. Iyan hindi pangutana kaya iya lang isuwayan ang mga disipulo. In spite of the disciples' lack of concern and lack of faith, Jesus demonstrated His grace by taking their tiny resources and made them into an unlimited supply to meet the needs of the people. He always knows what to do all the time and in all situations. Your God has the ability. He in fact knows everything in every situation. He has the answer. He knows what to do. That's the kind of God that you worship. Our God, the God of the Bible, the God of creation, is not stupid. He is all-powerful. He knows what to do. Whatever problems we have, He knows how to solve that. He has a solution. Is that the God that you have? That's my God. He knows what to do. And sometimes He just allows, like this question, He allows circumstances, He allows problems, He allows confusion to test you. To test you. But He knows what to do. Verses 11 to 13. We'll just read. Can we read that all together? Now, and Jesus took the loaves, and when He had given thanks, He distributed them to the disciples, and the disciples to those sitting down, and likewise the fish, as much as they wanted. So when they were filled, He said to His disciples, gather up the fragments that remain, so that nothing is lost. Therefore they gathered them up, and filled 12 baskets with the fragments of the 5 barley loaves. They were there over those who had it. More than enough. Jesus knows everything for every situation. He has ways, in fact, unlimited ways to bless us. I'd like to close this with a couple of lessons and a couple of applications. First lesson that we hopefully could bring from this study. There is no human need that is beyond God's ability to supply. Walay tawhanong panginahanglan na dili nga labaw sa abilidad sa Dios sa pagsulbad ug pagsupply. God does not concern Himself on how much power He has to release. Di siya maghuna-hunaw pila unsa kadako nga gahom iyang gikinahanglan ipagawas, because His power to bless is unlimited. Why limit? Bisag pila pa katao, bisag unsa pa kadako sa problema, ang Dios dili maghuna-huna nga magdaginot sa iyang gahom nga i-release paghimo sa mga blessings, because God's ability and power is unlimited. When we think of blessing others by sharing our resources to them, we usually think of like having something for ourselves also. Kung maghuna-huna ganitang mo share, kinahanglan sa tag maghuna-huna nga napay mabili nato, di ba? Magbilin-bilin sa tag o para sa tuwa. Nay nagkinahanglan uban, mutabang ta, magbilin-bilin ko ta o para sa to. But God does not. His only concern is to supply as much as we need and even more. 12 baskets more of surplus. Second lesson. When the need is great and overwhelming, and the resources are small and insufficient, bring the matter to Jesus. Do not bring it to other people, not even to the disciples. You see, in other religions, they bring their concerns to different names, different santos. Daghan pag-agihan. Dili na kay Katoliko, sobra pa. Bring them to Jesus. God's blessing does not depend on human resources, but on human submission to the divine power. Wala kayo mo, may problema. Adto lang sa Ginoo. His blessings can flow freely to us and through us when we trust and obey God fully. Ang panalangin sa Diyos, magdagaya nato kung pinaagi ka nato ngadto sa uban kung kita kumplito nga magsunod musalig musulod kani. No matter how small or insignificant we are, or how small or insignificant our abilities are, or how small our money is, Jesus can take that and use it for His purposes. All He asks is that we give Him what little we do have, and let the multiplication be His work. Siya na magpanagta. Gabay na imong hatag lang yan. Siya na ang magpanagta. There's a couple of applications for us to bring. Because people are more important than money, let us invest our energy and resources on saving people. Tungod kay ang mga tao mas importante sa mga material resources, atong i-invest, atong pagalingon ng atong resources alang sa mga tao sa kaluwasan sa mga tao. While the disciples were worried about spending lots of money to feed the people, Jesus felt compassion for the people. People are more important to Him than money. Someone said, I read this from a post in one of my chat groups. One day, we will realize that material things mean nothing. And all that matters is the well-being of the people in our life. Second application that I hope you can bring it with you. Because God uses what we already have for blessings to flow, let us give Him what we have. Tungod kay gamiton sa Dios ang unsay daan nato sa kadamay atong kini ihatag kanimo. Ephesians 3:20 says, He is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we can ask or think. Dili na ito ma-imagine ang abilidad sa Diyos. Dili na ito malimitahan ang abilidad sa Diyos. He can do more than you can ask or think. What would have happened if the little boy had not been willing to give his lunch to the disciples and to Jesus? They would have missed the great miracle. If we are willing to bring what little we have to God, He will not only use it to bless others, but He will use it to make sure that you will also have your need met and more. Dili lang para sa uban, kundi siguro sa niya nga mabusog sa ka, makatagamtam sa ka, kung sobra pa sa iyong paghinahon. Someone said, when God blesses you financially, don't raise your standard of living. Raise your standard of giving. Dako na kang sweldo. Ayaw daka ang imong gastos. Daka ang imong paghatag. Maura ang gihapon ang imong babaw kay imong na masultan. Ngano, nagdako na imong income, igamay naman ninyo wala mong hatag. Kaya ginawa. Kaya nagdako na imong gasto. Ano eh? Ganahan naman sa mga pastoro. Pitson pa sa mga jogging pa sa makdo, uban pa. Taon na, di pa mataka-afford. Hanggang na nalalbihan, wala na Ginoo para sa Ginoo. Kaya dako na ang gasto. Brothers and sisters, I hope and pray that truly, as a believer of Jesus Christ, you will experience His unlimited blessings. Not only today, but every day in your life. God bless.